What would you do if your neighbor abandoned her 6 children on your doorstep for a 5-day holiday? In today's story, the protagonist's choice to finally draw the line triggers a firestorm of consequences. My name is Clara, I'm 29, and my husband, Liam, and I live in a quiet cul-de-sac. At least, it's supposed to be quiet. In reality, everyone is so close to one another that people are naturally in each other's business. From the moment we moved in, I had issues with one neighbor in particular, a woman I'll call Sharon. She's the type of mother who lets her children just wander about without a care in the world. But that's not even the worst part. Her true talent, her uncanny skill, is talking the neighbors into babysitting for her. I'm usually the type of person to say no to things, but even I had been roped into watching her kids way too many times. So yesterday, when she came knocking on my door again, I did what any sane person would do. I pretended I wasn't home, but she just kept knocking, harder and harder, until I was genuinely afraid she would yank the letterbox right off the door. Reluctantly, I opened it. Before I could even get a word out, she started rushing through a few sentences that I didn't fully understand. Something about being back on Sunday. Standing behind her were all 6 of her children, ranging in age from a 7-year-old all the way down to a 6-month-old baby. As one commenter later pointed out, what kind of parent leaves a literal baby with a neighbor for days, without preparing food, clothes, a timeline, or even getting consent? I can't, I told her firmly, my voice catching in my throat. I can't do it. She just glanced over her shoulder and said, "The black cab is waiting for me." She started to turn, and I panicked, reaching out and trying to grab her hand to stop her from leaving. "I am unable to watch them," I repeated, but she just ran off and jumped into the waiting cab. Sharon bolted for the black cab, utterly convinced she had won again. She was completely unaware that this single, selfish act of abandonment would unravel her life completely. I was left standing in my doorway, stunned, with 6 children staring up at me. To say I was pissed is putting it mildly. I brought the kids inside, my mind racing. I waited for 40 minutes, giving her a chance to have a change of heart. As I waited, I thought about all the horrible possibilities. One person later captured my thoughts perfectly. You would be TA if you didn't call. What if you actually weren't home and she just left them on your porch? What if something happened to them and she told the police you were watching them? When the 40 minutes were up, I sent her a text. "If you can't pick them up in 10 minutes, I am calling Children's Services." Silence. She didn't answer. I called her. It rang twice, went to voicemail. I called again. On the 3rd ring, she picked up. I repeated my ultimatum. She scoffed, her voice casual, telling me it was too late for her to come back since she was already out of the city. Then she had the audacity to say, "If you don't want to watch them, just drop them off at Mrs. Gable's." Mrs. Gable is our 68-year-old neighbor who has a host of health issues. The thought of dumping 6 children on an elderly woman for several days was horrifying. "I'm not doing that," I said, my voice cold. "If you are not here in 10 minutes, you can explain to the local council why you abandoned your children and see if they think you're a fit mother." She swore at me and then said the 5 words that sealed her fate: "You would never do it." This revealed Sharon's greatest fatal flaw, her blinding arrogance. She was so used to manipulating and bullying her neighbors that she couldn't conceive of a world where someone would finally hold her accountable for her actions. In that moment, it felt like she was baiting me, daring me to act. So I did. My hands were shaking, but my resolve was firm. I hung up and immediately phoned Child Services. I explained the situation, the history of her behavior, and the fact that she had knowingly abandoned her 6 children, including a baby, with me against my will. After the call was done, I sent Sharon a simple text: "It's done." My phone rang almost instantly. It was her. "I'm halfway to Blackpool," she screamed down the line. "I'll murder you if this is true." Instead of arguing, I waited. Soon, 2 social workers and 2 police officers arrived. They explained that the police often accompany them when collecting abandoned children, just in case something criminal has occurred. They were calm, professional, and asked a lot of questions about Sharon. As they gently gathered the children, I took out my phone, recorded a short video of the official handover, and sent it directly to Sharon. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought I was in the right. But then my husband, Liam, came home. That night, we had a huge fight. Liam was in foster care as a child, and his face was pale with fury. "You're a right cow. You are." He spat at me. He said I was cruel. That I should have just refused at the door instead of waiting 40 minutes and then giving Sharon an impossible 10-minute deadline to get back from outside the city. He said I had other options. That I could have run after her and put the children back in the cab instead of giving what he called silent consent. And what about Mrs. Gable? He demanded. Sharon offered an alternative. So why didn't you just take them there? It wouldn't have been your problem anymore. I tried to explain that I wasn't comfortable handing children over to a third party, and that it's just not right to dump 6 kids on an elderly woman with health problems for days on end. Then he told me that anything that happens to those children in the system is now on my head. He started telling me stories, things he experienced in care, things he saw happen to other kids. I had no idea foster care could be that bad. I didn't sleep all night. And this morning, Liam left for work without saying a single word to me. Now I'm second-guessing everything. I keep wondering if I should go to child services and tell them I overreacted, that it was all a big misunderstanding, just to get those kids out of there. Ultimately, this story shows that standing up to chronic irresponsibility can have painful and complex outcomes, forcing a confrontation not just with the wrongdoer, but with the hidden traumas of those we love. Was I right to protect myself and the children? Or did my husband's past give him a clearer view of the potential harm? What would you have done in my position?